What must we do once we become aware of an omen? How's everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel. I'm Thomas, and I do videos on educational topics. For this unit right now, I've been working on the Tree of Life and presenting videos on the Tree of Life, 144 separate videos, each on one different aspect of the tree. Now, if you'd like to get a guide to that, a guide to the 144 fractal faculties of the tree, just click the link in the description. I'll send that out to you for free. It'll help you follow along and keep track as we go through all these different videos. But before we kind of get into the more detailed aspects of the tree, the 144, we want to just check up on the 12 major categories of the tree. So this is the Tree of Life. It goes back to at least ancient Egypt. It's basically a diagram of our faculties of consciousness. You may recognize this also as the Hebrew Kabbalah. The Kabbalah uses the same diagram, but this is a different interpretation, which in my opinion is less evil than some of the other versions that are out there. And in fact, it can be used as your self-defense against the evil ones who use this diagram in order to make your life miserable. Make all our lives miserable, or try to. We can defend ourselves with the tree, because we have to know how it works. And it is just a technology, just like all other kinds of technology. It can be used for good or evil. So let's put some good intention into this tree, and we'll find that it will help us to transform our 3D world into the so-called 5D, which I think maybe is 6D world that we're moving into. Okay, now the 12 different faculties of consciousness presented by the tree are in the 10 spheres, and then also the abyss right here, and this is an applied sphere, and a 0 above the tree. The numbers are 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, then the 0, and then the abyss. So that's a total of 12 different aspects of consciousness, or potentialities of consciousness. Some of these things are more accessible to us than others at different points of our life, but basically we are evolving in this direction. So we're evolving toward opening up more and more aspects of our consciousness. We start here with the 10th sphere, and this is really our wild animal consciousness. This is the law of the jungle, kill or be killed, a state of nature, fight or flight response, the automatic responses of the body that keep us alive, our life force, our kind of our lowest manifestation of our life force, Jing. And, that's kind of what we have to go with. It also can be negatively affected through lust of the body and defilements of the body, which fights against the involuntary life force powers of the body, such as the digestion of food and keeping all our organs intact and the pumping of our heart and so on. Okay, now when we go to the 9th sphere, this is really more like a domesticated animal. This is known as our domestic consciousness, and this is has to do with heightened receptivity to start with. Okay, so when we're first growing up, the first couple years of our lives, maybe 5 to 10 years of our life, we are primarily in the home, and we are highly receptive, what's called the mediumistic trance. And we're receptive to our environment, but especially to our caregivers and those who are feeding us and clothing us and cleaning us up. We watch what they do intently, and then we imitate what they do, and we practice that. So we imitate what they do over and over till we get it right, and then we memorize that activity. So, you know, that's what we have: heightened receptivity, imitation, repetition, and then memorization. And that's how we pick up things from our, from our caregivers. Now the eighth sphere is kind of similar, but where the ninth sphere is like the domestic space, the eighth sphere is the public space. So this is what we get from going out into public, beginning school, going to church, or to the rec center, or whatever it is that we're doing when we're kids. We finally start getting exposed to the public views on things, all the belief systems that are out there, all the consensus worldviews, the expert opinions, the conventional wisdom, all the institutions, the establishment, the powers that be, and primarily all the resources are located in the eighth sphere. They basically tell us what we're supposed to believe about life, and they tell us how we're supposed to behave in life. And to the extent that we do that, they give us, access to be admitted to the eighth sphere as kind of a guard, like a lower minion of the eighth sphere. So, which is what many people have as a goal for their life, because they see the eighth sphere as being, the be-all, end-all. And if they can get access to the eighth sphere, then they become one of the eighth sphere, this elite here. But, the vast majority of the people that are in the eighth sphere are, minions of the eighth sphere. They have a little bit of power, but they're basically just being forced to kind of comply here, where it actually contradicts with their own experience, because the eighth sphere is a trickster. It's not always telling us the truth. It's telling us what is convenient for them, for us to know. So it's telling us what they want us to know, which sometimes is the truth and sometimes it isn't. And in addition to that, the eighth sphere represents, as far as our faculties are concerned, this is our belief systems, and this is our logical faculty. Now, again, we have like a negative eighth sphere with the aspect of things like circular reasoning and rationalization that we use in order to kind of justify the eighth sphere. So when the eighth sphere tells us that the sky is green and we see that the sky is blue, we end up rationalizing and saying, well, I don't know, it looks kind of like the sky is blue to me, but I think there's something wrong with my eyes, or I'll just pretend that I didn't see that because everybody else says that the sky is green, so I better go along with that. So we give lip service to the eighth sphere, which we kind of all need to do anyway, because this is where all the resources are. But if we believe that, if we give them lip service kind of unconsciously, thinking that we actually do believe that, then we can get ourselves into a lot of trouble, and we can kind of end up getting stuck in the eighth sphere for good. But if we kind of recognize that we're just giving the eighth sphere a little bit of lip service, and we recognize what we really feel about things, that the sky is actually blue, because that's been my experience for my whole life, then we kind of drift over here toward the seventh sphere, where the eighth sphere is about the real world. The seventh sphere is about the imaginary world. So the seventh sphere is kind of what we imagine the eighth sphere could be like, So the seventh sphere is, providing alternatives to the eighth sphere. And we use our imagination, one of our faculties at the seventh sphere, along with other seventh sphere things such as inspiration, what we've seen others do in the past, intuition, our ability to kind of tune in to what we really feel about something inside, which we get to through really wondering or being curious about a thing, and then also our creative spark and our pleasure principle, being able to put things together in novel ways and in pleasing arrangements. And so we can do all these, and eventually we come up with a creative product, such as a song or a painting or an invention that works to improve upon what's at the A sphere. Okay, now as we progress further, we get to the 6th sphere, which is really the center of the tree, and it's really where we're located in the first place, because the 6th sphere is our free will faculty. This is really where our essence is. And free will is boiled down to our ability to pay attention, our ability to make decisions. And unfortunately, to start with, our attention is directed down to the bottom of the tree. So attention has a vector, it has a direction. And so we direct our attention to the bottom of the tree, 8, 9, and 10, and sometimes 7, as a because we're very accustomed to this life. Being in the 8th and 9th and 10th sphere is how we grew up. This is what we're our comfort zone. This is what we are used to, and so we naturally pay attention to that until our free will, in particular our ability to make decisions, changes that, and we can make the decision to turn ourselves around and pay attention up the tree instead of down the tree, to our higher aspects. And so once we start paying attention to our higher aspects, then we can make real progress on our spiritual evolution. But this is very difficult because it requires courage. It requires standing in the face of fear, because here you're staring into the unknown. This is not well-traveled territory. Whereas this is. So we're very comfortable with this, and our free will is now making the decision, requiring us to actually look at the unknown or less known. Okay, now when we look at the unknown, we start with the 5th sphere. Our 5th sphere is our sense of justice. You could also call this karma, and that's, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. What comes around goes around. As you sow, so shall you reap. So that is what you can envision like a mirror here. You act and you get reaction. And that is based on your karma. And the karma is based on violence, waste, and violation. And so if you act unjustly, you get unjust reaction in return. If you act violently, you get violence in return. And so if you're paying attention, one of the qualities here at the 6th sphere, if you're paying attention, you will realize that this is what's going on, that you're getting negative results because of your negative input. And if you can clean up your input, then what you get back also improves. And so you can use your karma as like a teacher or a guide to you. Feedback. He's giving you feedback on your own actions. You can think, hey, maybe I'm being too violent, or maybe this is a wasteful activity, and that's why this is happening. You can begin to figure out how to, become a more just person. At the 4th sphere, you also can direct your attention there, and the 4th sphere is the counterpart to the 5th sphere. The 5th sphere is about the enforcement of the natural law, the natural order of things. The 4th sphere is about the articulation of that natural order, and that can be done through cosmologies, holy books, ancient holy books, or also theories of everything, anything that purports to discuss how the whole order, how everything is. It's a holistic document. You know, it attempts to describe God, humans, our relationship with God, what we're here for, what we're doing, what the purpose is, all of these different things, along with the physical laws and the metaphysical laws. So this is really something that's, the cosmologies are really built up over the long course of time by observing nature, observing how things go, and also intuiting, investigating, experimenting, measuring. All of these things go into forming cosmologies. And your best bet is to study as many different cosmologies as you can, and then use your own intuition to arrive at the happy medium, the place that feels good to you. Not feeling good in terms of comfort, but feeling good in terms of this this resonates with my own experience. This feels right to me in my heart. And it's difficult to discern that difference between what feels good to me and what is convenient and comfortable for me. Okay, then we get to the abyss, which we'll be talking about today. This is our psychic powers, and that really has to do with magnetism. And our psychic powers have really two components. One is our psychic receptivity, our ability to recognize omens, synchronicities, uncanninesses, deja vus, and recurring themes, recurring numbers, anything that kind of clicks in your mind that this is something important, or really this is something anomalous. Wow, that's strange. That's weird. Those kind of comments that you make in your head should not be dismissed. They should be like, oh, what should I be paying attention to about this? And usually the answer will be offered, and it will be a course of action. And that is the second part of the psychic powers, is the psychic heat, and that is being able to act upon the omen. And that requires courage, again, because it requires us to go into the unknown. We don't really know what's going on, and it requires us to put ourselves out there. Okay, then 3, 2, and 1 are above at the top of the tree. These are our divine faculties within, and we have here 3, omnipotence, all-powerful. You could think of this also as our ultimate mission in life. And then 2, the second sphere, is omniscience, all-knowing. Wisdom is our ability to solve problems. And the first sphere is omnipresence, all present all at once. And this is really our unifying factor, because this is at our deepest center. And when we sink down to our deepest center, we recognize that what's at our deepest center is the same as what's at everybody else's deepest center. And so it unites us all. We tap into 3 through sound, synchronization, mantra, sacred music, shamanic drumming. We tap into the second sphere through insight, meditation, and being able to stay off all the content of the mind and to be able to calm the mind to the point that it becomes transparent. And then we tap into the first sphere by actually sinking to that deepest center of our mind. The 0 sphere is above the tree. This represents the mystery and the unknown, the nothingness. And this is not part of the universe, but it is part of the Creator. So it's what the Creator reserves for itself. It's part of the Creator, not part of the universe. It's the Creator's private life, so to speak. So we have indirect access to this. Okay, now, so to go from the 12 to the 144, we basically just take the whole tree, all 12 categories of the tree. We shrink the tree down and we place the tree on each one of the spheres. So we boil down the 10th sphere to its 12 parts. We boil down the 9th sphere to its 12 parts. We boil down the 8th sphere to its 12 parts, and so on. So 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, and so on, leads us to 144 different fractal faculties or mini faculties, what I call stages of life, consciousness, history, and spirituality. And in each video, and at the end of the video, I go through one of those 144 different fractal faculties. And today we're looking at number 89. What must we do once we become aware of an omen? And this is tied up, as you might guess, into the abyss, because it's about omens. And this is really the 6th fractal of the abyss. So when we place the whole tree on the abyss, we find ourselves here right at the 6th fractal of the abyss. Okay, now the abyss has to do with psychic powers, psychic heat, and psychic receptivity, and magnetic charge, an external magnetic charge that we have the option to act upon or to be attracted by. And then the 6th sphere has to do with our free will faculty, our ability to make decisions, our ability to pay attention. So those qualities are tied up in this number 89, which is called Wachet, psychic heat. And Wachet is the hot snake, the red snake. On the diagram, going through this middle pillar here are 2 snakes on each side. They spiral through. One of the snakes is psychic heat, one is psychic receptivity. The psychic heat is red and the psychic receptivity is purple. One corresponds to a solar eclipse, one corresponds to a lunar eclipse. So stage number 89 is about a lunar eclipse, which blocks the cooling influence of the moon, permitting the heat needed for the courage to act on the omen that was just received. The omen requires us to act in a certain way. If we do, then we, the paramagnet, acquires the charge of the external field, the ferromagnet. The hot snake, the red snake, the reaction to an omen. A coincidence, a recurring theme, recurring numbers, deja vus, anomalies. These are external magnetic charges, which also carry with them a course of action. The omen is an invisible, hidden action. So the reaction to the omen looks like a spontaneous action to insiders or to outsiders. The omen is a universal message to let us know that there is something we should give our attention to. Once the omen, the ferromagnetic charge, arouses us after we have just gotten the omen, we must smooth it over by following up. So align with it by moving to the stronger part of the field like a paramagnet would. This requires a lot of courage because the action will require us to open ourselves to vulnerability, to put ourselves out there and to face the unknown for no observable reason. The omen and the path of action or path of attraction are presented at once by the ferromagnetic charge. Reprogram ourselves to go for it right away after recognizing the omen. Lunar eclipse, the red snake, the hot snake, 1/2 of the universal magnetism that makes up our psychic powers. We must have great courage to follow through on the act, so we block out the moon, which cools us off to the point we succumb, to the point that we do not succumb to fear. Electromagnetism is part of our subtle body. BEAM, body, etheric, astral, and mental. So the body is 3D, the etheric body is 2D, magnetism. The astral body is 1D, electric, and the mental body as 0D, just a point, or the mind. Okay, that is the 6th fractal of the abyss, number 89, psychic heat or Wachet, on the tree. And thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video, or tune in tomorrow for the video. You can hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with others. You can click the link in the description to get that free guide to the 144 fractal faculties, which will serve as a template for further studies with me on this subject. And you can also donate via Cash App or Venmo, listed in the description. Y'all have a beautiful day, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.